Today we are talking gifts, and specifically we are going to talk about gifts for yourself, but also great ideas if you are buying for a special woman in your life who happens to be over 45, over 50. Well, we're going to start with skincare, and then we'll go into some of the unique makeup suggestions for the midlife woman, as I'm going to call her. Welcome, everyone, to the Extraordinary Women Show. This is the place for women 50 plus who are ready to design and live a fabulous next chapter. If you're listening to this on the podcast platform, you might want to come over to the YouTube channel, which is where the show is, and so that you can see all of the products that I'm going to be talking about today. So, back to the gifts. Now, I'm not an influencer by any stretch of the imagination, and therefore I'm not being paid by anyone to share my favorite things. But it's that time of the year. Now, it might be easy to say no. I'm not going to spend anything on myself this year. I'm going to, convince myself that it's a way for me to save money. But I want you to rethink that perspective. Why? Because it's important for you to believe that you are worthy of being pampered. You are worthy of feeling pretty. And those feelings should be a part of every woman's next chapter. So let's jump in, and we're going to start with skincare. Our skin is so very different from when we were in our 20s or 30s. Even if we've had a few procedures done, the skin still changes. I get so many people ask me all the time what I do for skincare because I've been granted, gifted pretty good skin, and I wanted to share things with you. So first of all, moisturize like crazy. Protect and exfoliate, but be very careful about how you exfoliate. I'm going to talk about that a little bit because you don't want to scrub. So those scrubs that work for the 20-year-old, that may have breakouts or whatever, don't work for you. They will not work for you. I love serums. I have to say, first of all, I don't know why I do, but I absolutely love them, and I change them up quite a bit. So right now I'm loving, and I have been for quite a while, the Japanese company Shiseido, and I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's now owned, as most cosmetic companies are now, owned by some large conglomerate. They're actually owned by a German company named Henkel, but they have promising that they are going to retain some of the, the divisions, if you want to call it that. So I use Shiseido, and I love it because you buy them refills. And so once you have the exterior container, you buy refills as time goes on. The blue is for night, and the white is for day. And for the day, what I do is I will squirt a little bit into the palm of my hand, and I will put 2 to 3 drops, you can see it's dripping actually, of SkinCeuticals CE, am I pronouncing it right? Ferulic, which is an antioxidant. It is a prevention. It helps you to fight off all of the environmental issues that are going on out there, as well as some of the things that we deal with as we age. So right now I'm loving Shiseido, I'm loving the SkinCeuticals, and in terms of moisturizers, I have tried, so I do the serum, I don't use a toner. Some people might love toners, I just don't. I find most of them dry my skin out. Also, if you notice, I get very red. Many of us do as we get older, primarily because our skin becomes thinner and the blood vessels are even closer to the skin. So I don't like toners for that reason. But in terms of moisturizers, I have tried every single kind of moisturizer you can imagine, from the high-end Lemire all the way down to, the moisturizers that you find in the drugstore. And we're going to talk about that just in a couple of minutes, and why the whole kind of skincare, makeup infrastructure, if you want to call it that, has been changing over the last probably 5 to 10 years. So I've tried all kinds of moisturizers. The one I always return to is Epicurean, Epicuren, and everything will be down in the show notes. But I use the Hydro Plus moisturizer. This is a smaller version because I travel a lot. I tend to buy in this category of size. But Epicurean, I return to it all the time because there's nothing in this particular moisturizer that makes me react, makes me get red, makes me break out, whatever it might be. So I'll try other moisturizers, but I end up returning to Epicurean. The other thing, two other things that I wanted to mention, you can see on a previous podcast, I do face fitness. I still work with Naima Ruffin, Dr. Naima Ruffin, and I do my face fitness exercises 2 times a day. And when you work with Naima, you get one of these beautiful little purple bags. Mine's all spattered because I've been working with Naima now for, I think about 9 months. But one of the things that I do, because you know those lines that we get between our eyebrows, I've got like a significant one that wants to pop all the time. And so one of the exercises I do with Naima is I actually put on oil, and this is great if you're super dry. I use it only in the evening myself, other than when I'm doing my exercises, my face fitness exercises. It's fantastic. You shake it up and you can see mine's almost empty. You've got these little they look like gold pieces. I don't know what it is. And it comes out in a dropper. Now, it's the Guerlain Abiel Royale. They have a whole skincare kind of line within the Guerlain brand, and it's called Youth Watery Oil. I want youth. So I use this. I think it's great. But with Naima, and you might want to take this on, I put a little bit of that oil after I do my exercises in the center of my forehead. And then I take my little scooper, jade scooper, and I swirl out so that in essence, I'm relaxing what's going on here in the forehead, because face fitness exercises, sometimes I tend to kind of work hard. My face muscles work hard, and I want to relax those after, because we all have natural propensities to create lines in this area. Some people it's on either side. Some people it's horizontal on the nose. But for me, it's one major one right down the middle. So I tend to do this. I use my oil first so that it smooths on really easily. And I do that just to relax those face muscles during the day, as well as when I do my face fitness exercises. The other thing I have just started, and this was at Naima's suggestion, is frownies. Do you remember frownies? We all talked about frownies, probably 20 years ago, when we didn't even need frownies, right? Well, Frownies is a really, really interesting company. It's 5 generations of women who have run this company, one family. I think it's an American-based company, and the current CEO actually is a woman too. So there's a real commitment to women owners, women, CEOs. They're weird little things. You all remember them. It's like, why didn't we think of this, right? But I tend to put one frowny. I take the triangle and I put one frowny between my eyes with the point down. So the flat edge of the triangle is between my eyebrows when I go to bed at night. And what I have found is that because I sleep on my side, as many of us do, it creates that line that goes up and down between my eyes. So I thought it would be important to, actually Naima recommended it, and I'm telling you, it has helped that particular line that is between my eyes, and I wanted to share it with you. Very, very cool story. Oh gosh, let's see. Another one. There's something else I wanted to share with you, but I'll save that for the makeup when we talk about makeup. And let's switch gears right now. As we age, as you have all found, we lose the definition in our facial features. I'm telling you, if I don't use an eyebrow pencil, and we're going to talk about that just in a minute, you don't even know if I have eyebrows because they have faded. They have thinned and they have faded. Same with eyelashes. Eyelashes, I don't care, darkest eyelashes in the world. I wasn't blessed with those, but they are all now white and very pale. So if in fact I don't have on mascara, you cannot see my eyes. So I lose all the definition of my eyes. We also lose the definition of our cheekbones. We're going to talk about that. And our lips, of course, our lips, right? Not only do they become thinner, they become wrinkled. And because of this, when you watch, there's a couple of things. Number one, some of the YouTube videos that we watch that younger women are putting on, and they're putting on makeup and they're using skincare products, you will see them use scrubs, which you don't want to use. You will see them use bronzers, which you don't necessarily want to use. You will see multiple layers of blush in order to provide different structures, if you want to call it that, in the face. All of this we can't wear. We cannot wear nor do, because our skin has changed. Our skin is different. I don't care if you've had a facelift or you've had fillers or Botox or you do face fitness like me. Our skin is still whatever our particular age is. We haven't had, you can't get 20-year-old skin on your face regardless of what you've had done. So we have to protect what we have. And that's why I love hybrid makeup. And I call it hybrid because the makeup that we wear after a certain age, and you can tell when that should be, needs to have benefits of, obviously covering things up or bringing things forward so that we can see them, but also have some sort of nourishing quality for our skin. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but as I talk about it, I'm going to show you several different brands, and I want you to think about this because it was pointed out to me, and it actually shocked me. Almost every makeup brand that I searched out before preparing for this podcast is owned by a much larger company. So, for example, Estee Lauder owns Revlon, which is in the drugstore, right? They also own La Mer, which is super expensive. They own Clinique, they own Origins, they own Tom Ford, they own MAC, they own several French cosmetic brands. So I use that as an example because I want you to really think about where you're buying your makeup, especially your makeup, and certainly even your skincare lines, because you can find fabulous high-end products, but you can also buy drugstore brands because they tend to be owned by the same company. And the question is how much of the technology is shared between the different divisions. Now, drugstore brands in the UK are called high street brands. But consider it, really think about it. And I've got kind of a mix today to show you. So back to cover up. The first one I am waiting for actually, which is called Erborian, Erborian. And it's one of the best BB creams out there. BB creams, if you don't know it, are tinted moisturizer, basically. They also have something called CC creams. CC creams tend to cover up, particular flaws, pimples, that sort of thing. But typically CC creams do not have as much tint in them as the BB creams do. Eborian is one I'm going to try because it was highly recommended by a couple of gals that I really respect. So it's a cover up that is also a moisturizer. But if you are a cover up, a cover up fan, foundation fan, there was something I was going to show you. I know. Hold on. The makeup brush. And I share this because in one of my trips back from Paris, I stopped in at the Guerlain, however you want to pronounce it, counter in the airport, if you can believe it, at Charles de Gaulle. And I had the most lovely French woman who was helping me with makeup because I needed a new foundation. And she actually convinced me to take a look at the brush and putting on your cover up or your foundation with a brush. And her comment to me was that before that she had used a sponge, and before that she had used her fingers. And she said, I just didn't believe a brush was that beneficial. And she said, it makes all the difference in the world. I would agree. This little brush is Guerlain's. At the time, you can buy the brush separate. You don't have to buy it with the foundation, but I use this regularly and I find that it puts on a much smoother look of your particular foundation. So that would be a recommendation of mine if you want something that's a little heavier than, say, a BB cream. So that's great. The other thing that someone recommended to me is a concealer, and a concealer being used underneath the eyes and on the eyelids. So you can see, because I don't hardly have anything on, that around the eyes, you'll see it yourself, but certainly mine get red. So it's not inflamed. What it is part of the aging skin process. The skin around the eye is incredibly thin. And so the blood vessels are very, very close to the surface. And so this particular person said to me, what you want to counteract that is a concealer that's got a bit of yellow in it. For me, it's counterintuitive. I thought, sure, that not necessarily true, but it actually does make a difference. Even from an eyeshadow standpoint, if I put on any kind of shadow, not that I wear much, but if I put on any shadow that has pink in it, I look like I've been popped in both my eyes. So that's the concealer discussion. But remember, in the concealer world, you can spend a lot, or you can spend not so much. Lancome, which is owned by L'Oreal, as an example, also owns Maybelline. So you're seeing a bit of everything. It's really quite interesting. I'm going to talk about another one. Powders, not so much. Most powders tend to sit in our wrinkles, in our smile lines, around our eyes. You have to be super careful with powders. One of them that came up as super highly recommended, I'm using the word super constantly. The one that comes up highly recommended is the Uberlescent, which is One Powder Wonder Uberlescent, and it's put out by Beauty Pie. And I want you all to take a look at Beauty Pie. Beauty Pie is an incredible company. It is a company where they make the products. I think they're headquartered in Great Britain. It was started by the serial entrepreneur Marcia Kildor. And the company eliminated basically retail, which is where most of the costs for cosmetics, for skincare, all of that, just significantly raise the price of the products, packaging as well as the retail. So Beauty Pie, it's a membership site. You actually join Beauty Pie, doesn't cost you much, but the difference in a member price versus a non-member price is significant, and it's well worth checking it out. I've been a Beauty Pie member now for, I think probably a year and a half. And I am continually impressed with their products. They go to wherever they need to go to get the best technology for skincare. And the price is unbeatable. Their shampoos are also, from a hair standpoint, are also great. I share that because there's a bit of that going on. There's only a couple. I think Thrive is one. And there's another one of those particular companies where they sell directly to the consumer and avoid retail. Kind of interesting. But Beauty Pie is fascinating. I'm going to talk about their advent calendar from last year in just a few minutes. Another product, though, that I'm trying is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's called Tasha, and it's a serum stick. Tasha was founded by an American who is of Japanese descent, and she sold out not that long ago to actually Unilever, which is, the trend is continuing. But this was recommended specifically for women our age. It's a very nice moisturizing serum that you think about putting, around your eye area just to plump out those smile lines, that we all have. Wherever else you have particular smile lines, just put it right on top of the makeup. Tasha is, I have to read this to you because I think it's so beautiful. And this came with the package, which is fascinating. At Tasha, we see skin as a reflection of the soul, worthy of the same tenderness and care that we afford the innermost parts of ourselves. That's why when formulating every new treasure with our team in Japan, I think as much about how it will touch your heart as I do about the way it will pamper your skin. So I just think I loved that. But I'm excited. I just ordered this and received it a couple of days ago. And I already love it because this is an area that often gets incredibly dry. And you can see all those wrinkles, especially when you're wearing makeup. We already talked about bronzers, avoiding bronzers, avoid very, very intense and heavy blush, keep everything light, because, everything changes, right? And even how our skin sits on our bones and our muscles changes. Dr. Naima Ruffin talks about that there is basically no area between the skin and the muscle of our face. And so that's why as our muscles, start to atrophy a little bit as we age, especially if we don't do face fitness, it pulls the skin down. Unlike, say, the muscles of your biceps, where the skin is quite separate from the muscle and you can actually pull it away, right? You can't do that with your face. So anyways, eyebrows. Eyebrows. I am like the fairest woman out there, and I don't mean that in a good way. And so my eyebrows have virtually disappeared. It's frightening. And eyebrows make a huge difference because they really do define the eye, which in turn defines the face. So there's a couple of things that I have tried. I love Tom Ford's eyebrow pencils. I first went with a very light color, thinking that that's what I should do. And then I realized you can't even see it on my face. And so I consequently went a little bit deeper. I think this one is espresso, which actually works on mine. This is actually a pencil. And so you have to apply it bit by bit by bit. But I just saw a presentation on Max Factor. We're back to the drugstore. Max Factor's eyebrow gel that you brush onto each of your brow hairs. You're basically coloring the brow hairs to give your eyes more definition. And the color that you put on your brows, supposedly with this eye gel, is supposed to last for a couple of days. I love it. You can go get your eyebrows dyed. I have found, because I'm one of those people that likes to wash my face regularly, as we all should. And for me, color doesn't hold. And so I'll spend the money, and I'm telling you, week and a half later, it's as though I never did it. So that's why I've been using the Tom Ford pencil, one of the best that I have found. But I'm going to try the Max Factor eyebrow gel and see what that's all about. In terms of eyeliner, just find something that works for you. I use Chantecaille, which is a French brand. I'm sure it's owned by someone that I've mentioned today. And, we can't do the eyeliner that comes around and flips up and that is so obviously eyeliner. It doesn't work with women our ages. So what I use it for is, again, definition of the eye. And so I will just actually dot right as close as possible to the eyelashes in order to give the eyelashes more definition. On mascara, I have tried every mascara I think that has been made. I have spent a lot of money on mascara, believing that would make a difference. I've had Chanel's, I've had Yves Saint Laurent, I've had Dior, I've had Guerlain. None of them, believe it or not, are as good as Revlon. It's L'Oreal, but it's actually a Revlon brand, which is owned by L'Oreal, and it's called Double Extend. And so one end has got the base, the foundation, the primer, if you want to call it that, and the other end is the color. And I don't know how old this is. This particular kind of mascara, not this tube, this particular kind of mascara, it's been around forever. And I have tried everything, and actually this is the one that stays on my eyes. I don't know about you, but for many of us, it will flake down or it bleeds down here, and I end up looking, like I've got cat eyes or something. So anyways, again, affordable. Another product that I'm thinking of trying, I wanted to share with you, is Jones Road. Now, Jones Road is the makeup company that's founded by Bobbi Brown. Bobbi Brown sold out, as you well know. This is similar to the Jo Malone story, where Jo Malone sold out. I think she sold out to Lauder. Bobbi Brown, I'm not clear who she sold out to, but these ladies wait a while and talk about next chapter, right? They immediately start another company. And so this is Bobbi Brown's, the cream that she talks about all the time, Miracle Balm. I can't wait to try it. I want to see what it's all about. And just for your information, I ordered one of the gift bags from Jones Road, which gives you the opportunity to try out a number of different products. So go for it, see what it's all about. The other thing I did was I purchased new makeup brushes. This is something I'm terrible with makeup, truly. Worn very little in my lifetime, but this is something that I want to change up in my next chapter. I want to learn how to use brushes and see if it makes that much of a difference, because it certainly has with the foundation. When I got the Guerlain brush, this girl's a happy camper. So now, lipsticks. I love lipstick. I look like, I belong in a coffin if I don't have lipstick on. Truly, everything just kind of looks like I'm leaving the planet, so to speak. But our lips are, again, super important there's that word again, super important for you to think about coming up with some sort of a hybrid product. As an example, I love Guerlain lipstick, and always have. For years and years and years. I was in Neiman Marcus yesterday trying to get a refill on a particular lipstick that I couldn't get, believe it or not, in the US. I bought it in Paris. And the woman, who was probably about 25, kept trying to show me matte lipstick. Matte lipstick does us no favors because it settles into all the little teeny wrinkles that are in your lips. Unless you are someone who is much braver than me and willing to do lip fillers, you will have those little lines. And also, our lips get thinner for whatever reason. It's the only part of my body that's gotten thinner as I've gotten older, but that happens, right? So I want you to think about hybrid lipsticks. And for example, what I purchased yesterday was Guerlain's Kiss Kiss brand, or Kiss Kiss line, because there's all kinds of moisturizers in there. There's a bit of shine associated with it. I have it on right now, which works great. But also there's a moisturizing benefit to it. I have tried the mattes and then put a lip gloss on top of it, and it just didn't, for me anyways, it just didn't work. So whatever lipstick you choose, really think about, how do I get a hybrid moisturizer as well as color? In terms of color, I love them all. I really do. I'm a woman. I can't even tell you how old I am. Y'all would fall off your chairs. But I still love red lipstick. When I go out in the evening, I love nothing more than bright red lipstick. And why shouldn't we, right? Absolutely. Why not? It's a sign in Paris that you are ready to party, as they say. In terms of the evening, this is the product. It's Aquaphor's lip repair. You can buy it in any drugstore or high street shop in the UK or here. You can also buy it in France in just a regular pharmacy. It's called Lip Repair. I slather that on every single night. And it says immediate relief for severely dry lips, but I have found it to be absolutely the best product. You can get it on Amazon. And actually during the pandemic, I got like 6 of them because I was terrified they were going to run out or stop making it or whatever, all the crazy things we did during COVID, right? But anyways, the best. And I've bought expensive lip balms for nighttime, and this is absolutely my favorite. I'm going to talk about hair in a different episode, and I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about advent calendars. And advent calendars are a really cool way for you to experience a number of products from a particular company. Last year, and I'm going to show you the little bag. It's a makeup bag, cosmetic bag that was part of Beauty Pie's last year's advent calendar. They had all kinds of things in it. A few of them I've got left, just so you know, like the detox shampoo. Super. If you are a swimmer, this is great stuff. It gets rid of the chlorine. It even has some of the little silk hair ties, but then they also included a whole section on nails, cuticle therapy, the little nail sticks. There was an eyelash curler in it. It was fantastic. I do not think Beauty Pie chose to do an advent calendar this year. They still are selling this absolutely beautiful green box with a gorgeous zipper. It is so beautifully made. It's green velvet, if you didn't know. It's something you could use for your own cosmetics. It's something that for the holidays or even for decorating, you could leave open and put some type of a flower arrangement or something inside. It would be very fun. Very, very fun. So I would not hesitate to check out advent calendars. One that I purchased this year, because I always make sure I purchase one. This year I went with Cult Beauty, And I went with Cult Beauty. Number one, I'm not somebody who's going to spend $600 on an advent calendar. It's just not going to happen. So even though I love Dior's boxes, oh gosh, I can't tell you how many different boxes I absolutely love and I've looked at. And as soon as I click on the price, I'm like, forget it. It sounds lovely, but I can't do it. But what I liked about Cult Beauty is that it was a lot of different products. Dr. Barbara Sturm, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. There's a serum. There's Fable and Mane, a travel size strengthening hair treatment oil. There's some of the Elemis. There's some of, Joe Loves, the travel size home candle. I don't know which one she's in, Huda Beauty, but this is what it looks like. I'm going to see if I can hold it up so that you can see it. And it opens up like this with all of the different products inside. And as you pull it open, as an example, this particular one, let's look at it. This particular one is super heavy. Cheeky Tint, Huda Beauty Cheeky Tint. Now, I've never heard of this brand, and some of the brands might be UK brands. Cult Beauty, I think, was out of the UK, but they ship here. Almost everybody who operates in the UK also ships to America. So this was just a little blush. As you can see, it's pretty orange for me, but if I find that I like it, as an example, now all of a sudden I've been introduced to a whole nother cosmetic company that I didn't know about before. And I find advent calendars a great way to try different things. Or I like the ones that actually offer multiple different companies, like Cult Beauty does. But if you have a company that you absolutely adore, it's really great. It's a wonderful way for you to try out their different products. Now, I've showed you, many different products in both the skincare group as well as in the makeup realm. There are also Cult Beauty and Beauty Pie were both in the what we would call the makeup and skincare area. But there are a couple of other fabulous women-owned companies that put out advent calendars. If that's something that interests you, I try to support women businesses. There are not that many women CEOs in the world. There are not that many women founders in the world. We hear about them because they represent, I think, less than 10% of all CEOs, certainly in America. So they get some attention because they're unusual. And as a woman, and a woman that, was a businesswoman for most of her life, I love it. I think it's fantastic, and I want to support women-owned businesses. Another advent calendar, and this is another woman-owned business, is My French Country Home. And that's something for you to put on your list for next year. Sharon Santoni owns the company, My French Country Home. She's a Brit who lives in France, is married to a Frenchman. And not only does she put out an absolutely beautiful calendar magazine, she has amazing tours to various parts of France. And I have been on one to Provence. It was absolutely fantastic, one of the best I've ever taken. But she also has an advent calendar, and it always sells out. And so it's gone. But it's something for you to pay attention to, because as a My French Country Home subscriber, you get a notice of next year's advent calendar. And truly, they sell out by the beginning of November. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Joe Loves, I mentioned Joe Loves. Jo Malone sold her company, I think, to Lauder, as I mentioned, but Joe Loves also does a calendar. And this year, I didn't order it because I'm in a place that is going to be completely renovated, and the last thing I needed were candles. But because Joe Loves makes fragrances and candles, but the the advent calendar actually looks like a very large ornament or bauble, and you open it up, it kind of swirls open, and inside of each of the days is something that smells lovely. So her book actually was a wonderful read, and really could give you insight if you're interested into her company. So anyways, I think it's a fun thing to do for yourself, especially if you are somebody who spends the holiday alone. This is one of the first years that I will be spending it with family. And I'm actually cooking, if you can believe it, for a large group. But I've spent a lot of Christmases by myself, both in Paris as well as in Boston. And I found those advent calendars, really special, because I could make the month of December really a special month. And I found myself each evening actually lighting a candle, turning on my Christmas tree lights, pouring myself a glass of champagne, and seeing what was the day's special treat. And in terms of the gifts, you have to take care of yourself. You have to give to yourself. And I want you, as you are starting your own fabulous next chapter, don't forget to pamper yourself. Make your own journey to the holidays super special. You're changing the way you view just how fabulous this next chapter can be for you. Lots of love to you all. A bientôt.